Are there any possibilities that Burma will actually go back and become a military dictatorship regime?
Well, I don't know, like it will become a classic military dictator as it had been for the past 49 years. You know, maybe that's not possible. But what I can say is like, this is not the, you know, what we're seeing on the ground today is not the sign of a country that is going to enjoy, you know, peaceful, prosperous, democratic future. Yeah? Because you've got genocide, you've got active war going on, and you've got, you know, like more than half of the population who are the country's youth, you know, either extremely poorly educated or uneducated. You know, like more than 35% of our children, you know, below the age of 12, yeah, dropped out of school. Yeah? So that means that, like, you know, we're looking at, like, you know, like 5 to 10 million Burmese children, yeah, leaving school before they finish primary education. There's so many signs of a country that is going to actually move into basically a twilight zone. It's not likely to be either democratic or you know, classic dictatorship. It's going to be stuck in you know, twilight zone.
You sound very pessimistic.
I'm realistic. And you know, and it's my country, so I would be more than happy to be wrong, you know, about my pessimism. But you know, my feet are firmly on the ground.
What's the situation like right now with the U.S., with European countries, and then with China? Everyone is rushing into Burma these days with investments or trying to expand their political influence in the country.
Well, first of all, through the eyes of like Western investors from European Union as well as North America, you know, from Wall Street and the city, yeah, Burma is nothing but you know, a brothel of natural resources, yeah, and a place of cheap labor, yeah, and a cheap and naive and you know, unskilled and you know, mostly unskilled labor. In terms of strategic, you know, strategic perspective from like Brussels or like London or Washington or Ottawa, this is part of the so-called Great Game. Yeah. So like the West is not just a single unified entity. You know, the Western governments have their own conflicting and competing interests, and so what we're seeing is Burma, as it rejoins the so-called international or global economy, what we're seeing is a process of massive strategic and commercial exploitation. That is what we're seeing. And then, but that is given a nice liberal-sounding name, like, you know, democratic transition. That's what it is. Yeah? And then Suu Kyi is a perfect cover for this process for her political patrons to come in and do whatever they need to do.
From today until the presidential election in 2015, what are the issues that we should look out for that might change Burma for worse or for better?
Well, one is like, you know, like we have to monitor the war in northern Burma. We have to monitor the treatment of the Rohingya and the Muslim, and then we have to monitor, you know, like neo-fascist racism. We have to look at the issue of disgruntled military elements that are not going to benefit from the opening up process. And there are so many factors that will make this reform process go wrong. And then so, you know, this is not going to be smooth sailing. You know, that's why anyone who tells you that, you know, like the Burma is going to be next Asian tiger, it's either self-interested or doesn't know anything about the you know, the situation you know, on the ground.
Are you hopeful that you will see a democratic Burma in your lifetime?
No, I'm not hopeful at all. I'm not hopeful because
in your lifetime.
No, I'm 49, and if I
Only
live,
49.
You know, yeah, you know, if I live for another 20 years, no, I'm not hopeful because we do not have a leadership either in the opposition or in the military that is interested, you know, whose sole purpose is to solve the problems. You know, what we have is the democratic opposition that wants to get in power, and then the ex-generals and generals that want to maintain power. So power is their, you know, is the main factor that is driving both major players within Burma.
It's like that everywhere. Politics.
Yeah, of course, like, you know, it's like that everywhere. But we just have an, you know, extremely pathological case, and you know, Burma is beyond you know, beyond the realm of normal. I mean, like, okay, you know, would you consider like Thailand, in the same light as Burma? No, of course not. And of course, like we accept that politics is by nature, about interest, but there's also a space for values and space for compassion. But we are not seeing it, not from the opposition, especially like the opposition that has been barking human rights and humanitarian concerns for the past 25 years. When push comes to shove, the opposition is going with their own power equation rather than with their values. That is the most discouraging and depressing development to me. And I expect the regimes to behave as depravely as they have, but I expected something more and something more positive from the opposition. I'm not seeing it, so therefore I cannot come up with any empirical evidence to say that I'm hopeful, even though I am Burmese. I like to be proven wrong.
ปัจจุบันคุณหมองซานีเป็นนักวิจัยอยู่ที่มหาวิทยาลัย London School of Economics ที่กรุงลอนดอนประเทศอังกฤษนะคะและเป็นคนที่เฝ้าดูการเปลี่ยนแปลงของพม่าอย่างใกล้ชิดและติดตามมาอย่างยาวนานแล้วค่ะเพราะฉะนั้นเขาก็หวังนะคะว่ามุมมองในแง่ลบของเขาต่อประเทศของตัวเองจะไม่เกิดขึ้นเราเองก็จะต้องจับตามองต่อไปนะคะเพราะถ้าเกิดว่าพม่ามีการเปลี่ยนแปลงในทิศทางที่ดีขึ้นไม่ได้ส่งผลดีเฉพาะแต่พม่าเท่านั้นแต่ว่าจะส่งผลดีต่อภูมิภาคอาเซียนโดยรวมด้วยค่ะพบกันใหม่สัปดาห์หน้านะคะสำหรับวันนี้สวัสดีค่ะ